Assalamu alaikum. Today, this is video number 2 for the topic 6.1, which is data security, and we'll be going over risk to the security of stored data. So you have your stored data, so how can it be compromised, right? So first of all, we'll be going over what hacking is. So there are different kinds of hacking. So we'll be going over malicious hacking because this involves stealing of data and manipulating data, right? So malicious hacking is the illegal access to a computer system without the user's permission or knowledge. So you're not informing the person who owns the system what you are trying to do, right? It is usually employed with the intention of deleting, altering, or corrupting files or to gain personal details, right? So this is something that is not, to the user's positive side, right? It's harming the user. So of course, it is malicious hacking as it is. So this is one of the methods how your data can be compromised. Then we'll be going over malware. So there are multiple kinds of malwares, and you're obviously be aware of viruses. So it is the most commonly used term when you are talking about malware. So these are programs or program code that can replicate and or copy themselves with the intention of deleting or corrupting files. So they can delete the files or corrupt the files. And what happens when you corrupt files? So when you're trying to perform something, so the thing is that when your file is corrupted, so your computer can malfunction, your program can crash, and then it can make the whole system crash, right? And they need an active host program on the target computer or an operating system that has already been infected before they can run. So you need a host, right? And now we'll be moving on to worms. So worms is a type of a standalone virus that can replicate themselves with the intention of spreading to other computers as well, right? And how do they spread to other computers? They make use of networks to search out computers which have weak security, because when a computer system has a weak network security, right, and then that is something that compromises it, right? So worms, these are something that can replicate themselves in the manner that they use networks to move on to other computers. Now we have logic bombs, right? So logic bombs are something that you embed in a program or on a computer. And so as the name suggests, it is a logic bomb. So something, when a logic is triggered, right, when a condition has been met, so that is when it is activated. And that is when it is activated that the task is carried out, and it can be something like you delete a file or you corrupt a file or something along those lines. That is why it is a logic bomb, right? Now, Trojan horses, right? So Trojan horses are also malicious programs. These are disguised as legitimate software, right? So let us assume you have Microsoft Office, right? So you have Microsoft Office. So this can be a good program in the sense that you got it with Office 365, right? So you got it through Microsoft itself, right? But let's assume that you went on to Google and then you find this and then you just download this, right? So it can be a Trojan horse in the sense that it looks like a legitimate software, but it is indeed not one. And they replace all or parts of legitimate software with the intent of carrying out some harm to the user's computer system, right? So they are, as they are disguised as legitimate software, when you open them, they can perform bad things to your computer, right? Now we have bots, so internet robots. So these are not always harmful. A lot of people use them. And in the sense, if you're familiar with Discord, right? So there are a lot of bots. You can play music using them. You can schedule events and all that stuff. And when you're talking about harmful bots, so these can be used to automatically purchase lots of stock for something that is already low in stock, right? And they can be used to take over a computer system as well. So when you are trying to purchase something which is already low on stock, right, if you're aware of the current situation. So graphic cards are out of stock. A lot of consoles such as the PS5 and the Xbox One are out of stock, right? So the main reason is that a lot of people have been using these bots to scalp. They buy lots of stock using their online credit cards, and they use these auto clickers meaning these robots, to buy a lot of stuff. That is why there's a lack of consoles, and that is why prices have been hiking up, right? So this is something that causes harm, right? And then you have spyware. So spyware is software that gathers information by monitoring, for example, key presses on the user's computer, right? The information that then is stored, right? When you're spying, you press key like this, right? You're pressing key, you're writing your password, right? That is being constantly stored, and then that is sent over to the person who sent the software, who installed the spyware in your computer, right? And then that person can use use the details using your key presses to figure out your password and then hack into your computer, right? Now we have phishing and farming, right? These are something that you might be aware of since O levels, because this was a very commonly asked topic. So let us go over what phishing is. So phishing is when someone sends legitimate looking emails to users, right? So take for example, you have an email coming from your bank account that your bank account needs a password reset, right? And you might not look correctly that it is a legitimate email or not, right? They may contain certain links or attachments which, when clicked, take the user to a fake website, right? So if you have your bank account email, you do not see if it is a legitimate looking email or not, right? So you click on the link and you're taken to this website that is for your bank, but you can see the URL, it's not matching what your bank is supposed to be, right? So that is an attempt of phishing. So there are multiple ways to prevent phishing attacks. So first of all, awareness, right? You need to be aware of basically what phishing attacks are, right? And then we do not need to click links unless certain that it is safe to do so. You can't just click random links and then expect your computer system to be totally safe if you do not have an up-to-date antivirus or a firewall, right? And it is important to run anti-phishing toolbars on web browsers, since they alert the user about malicious websites and malicious websites that are contained in the email, as well as when you are opening those websites on your web browser. And then we also have to look out for the green padlock symbol. So if you get a legitimate looking email from your bank, right? So your bank is a secure place, right? So its website should also be secure. It should have an HTTPS and a green padlock symbol. So that is something you need to be aware about. Now we move on to farming. So farming is malicious code installed on a user's computer or on a web server as well. The code redirects to a fake website, right? So a fake website is really important without their knowledge. So the user does not know if it is a fake website or not. The creator of the malicious code can gain personal data such as bank details, etc., right? So farming redirects users to fake websites, right? Or malicious websites which are set up by the hacker, right? Farmers can also send malicious programming code to user computers. The code performs malicious activity on their hardware. Okay, so there are two phases to this, right? So first of all is having farming as a malicious code, right? So it's installed on your computer, and this code, whenever you have to visit a website, right? So it keeps on redirecting you to a fake website over and over again, right? So this is one part. And then another part is that when you move on to that website, you can automatically download malware, right? And that malware, as we read, could be a virus, could be a worm, could be a Trojan horse logic bomb. And then it evolves in the sense that it starts from farming, right? Then you have your malicious code installed on your computer, and then it goes downhill from there, right? So how to protect against farming, right? So using antivirus software, which should be up to date, right? Which can detect unauthorized alterations to web addresses and warn the user. So not only web addresses, right? So if you, okay, take for example, if it does not detect the malware on the website itself, but when you're downloading it, it detects it then. So then you can be aware of it and then automatically delete the file before it performs something bad on your computer. And then using modern web browser that alert user to farming and phishing attacks both. Then check the spelling of the websites, because a lot of fake websites have alterations of minor a, e, I, o, u, the vowels, minor alterations to their spelling. And then always check for the HTTPS or the green padlock symbol in the address bar, right? So this is how you protect yourself against farming and how you protect yourself against phishing earlier.